That podcast belongs in a museum. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is coming up next.
Haven't Seen It with Tim Sestito and Tommy Tevenet. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Thank you all so much for listening today. This is a podcast where one of us is watching a movie for the very first time. Today, that is Tommy. We are now covering our second Indiana Jones film on the podcast. We did Temple of Doom last year. Go check out that episode. We also discussed Indiana Jones and the Flop of Destiny, I believe, right? We both saw that.
We both saw that. I felt okay about it. You hated it, from what I remember.
Yeah, I
and
don't remember much about it.
yeah, and now I've seen all the Indiana Jones movies. I saw Raiders, obviously, and I saw Crystal Skull, the first Indiana Jones movie I ever saw about 14 years ago.
Yeah, that explains a lot. It explains why now you're finally getting around. You're 30 years old
Yeah,
and you're finally getting around to The Last Crusade. Because if the first Indiana Jones movie you saw was The Crystal Skull, it's not going to inspire a lot of hope to go back and
I
then
I remember liking it okay at the time. But granted, it was like I just didn't have a frame of reference of like how great Indiana Jones could be. I was also in eighth grade, so eighth grade
yeah.
Tommy didn't have exactly the best film opinions.
Yeah, I mean, anything with like action and explosions is like cool. And now it's like you watch these movies and it's like, oh, that's just horrendous CGI. It's completely taking me out of the movie.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, good to finally get this one on the record here. I'm happy we showed this. I remember the first time you saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, we watched that together.
with
Um,
that together, I could have sworn I watched it for the first time by myself.
I thought I watched it with you your first time. I could have sworn we were in a theater, a private theater, someone's house.
No, that's like the second time I ever saw it. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought that was the first time
we
you had a
yeah,
movie
yeah.
night.
I mean, the good thing about house sitting for some people, they had a fucking home movie theater system, so of course we lived in there. And Rares was one of the movies we watched. I think Jurassic Park was another one we watched in that screening room.
Yeah, it's a good place to relive the classics.
Yeah.
So Tommy, any movies you want to discuss that you saw recently? Want to talk
Yeah,
about?
so yesterday I saw Civil War finally. Had a busy month in April, so I finally blocked out some time to see Civil War. And I saw it at a 5 p.m. screening by myself, which was, I think, an incredible way to see this movie. This movie was just very exhilarating. I think that this is like the loudest I've ever heard a gunshot ever in a movie since Heat. And in this way, it was played for like a very thriller aspect. I think the movie just felt very unrelenting, just very visceral and everything it's saying. And I think that just being in the world of that movie was incredibly eerie and creepy. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm glad I finally saw it.
Yeah, I
And I think it's
definitely
my,
I want to go check it out.
yeah, I think it's my favorite movie of 2024 so far. So I definitely recommend checking it out. Just everything about it. Like Kirsten Dunst gives a great performance. It was the fourth Monday in a row that I saw a Kirsten Dunst movie in theaters. Funny enough.
Just
Uh,
rolling through the Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Then I'm like, oh, let me go see Civil War. And so now I got to find another Kirsten Dunst movie to watch next Monday. To continue the cycle, of course.
What is it? Melancholia?
I got to find a screen of Melancholia if anyone's playing one more.
Probably not in theaters anywhere. You know what I watched, Tommy? This is
What?
something that you and I have both done. We have both been this character for Halloween. I think it's the only one we've ever intercepted on.
Yeah.
I rewatched the original Back to the Future for the first time in close to a decade, probably.
Mm.
What a perfect movie. Just so much
Amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
You just get so swept up into that world. It's like perfectly paced and just like exudes charm throughout. Um, I just love that movie. I really wish we could find a human being that hadn't seen it so we could cover it on haven't seen it.
I mean, we found a friend that hadn't seen Jurassic Park, so I think we could probably find a friend that hasn't seen Back to the Future. Maybe even that same friend.
No, I think I watched that with him in like high school.
Oh, damn.
I'm almost positive he's seen Back to the Future. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just absolutely love that movie. Michael J. Fox is just like he was like the perfect fits because I was originally going to be Eric Stoltz in that role, and then they went and recasted because they were just like, this guy's not working at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was doing that while he was on what's the '80s show? I think what is it? Family Matters,
One of those things. Yeah.
one of those ABC shows. So they like had to shoot all of his segments like at night
Mm.
and while while he was doing the TV show during the day. So busy man working and
Yeah, like 18 hours a day, essentially. Like at the time, insane.
probably more. Probably taking naps in his chairs in the on set and
Yeah.
in his trailer. But yeah, Back to the Future was the movie I rewatched this week, and I enjoyed it immensely. The other movie I rewatched this week was Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. This is a movie that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm very curious what Tommy is going to have to say about it.
On Wednesday, May 24th, Paramount Pictures invites you to have the adventure of your life.
Dad! What? Dad! What?
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Are you crazy? Don't go between them! Go between them! Are you crazy?
Harrison Ford. Sean Connery.
You call this archaeology?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Rated PG-13. Starts Wednesday, May 24th at theaters everywhere.
Yeah, so this was the first time ever in my mind that it ever crossed my mind. I was like, I could go into recording this episode without having watched the movie recently and be okay.
Mm.
Like I didn't do it, obviously. I rewatched it, but I was like thinking, I was like, I could go in like I just know this movie so well. Um, it's for me, and just start with me because this is 100th time watching this movie. Like
Yeah.
since I was a kid, this was my dad's favorite Indiana Jones. Like this was the one that over Raiders, over Temple. That was we're gonna watch an Indiana Jones movie. We're gonna watch this one.
Yeah.
I I feel like this is like Spielberg. Like I think this movie has flaws. I think,
Mm.
but I think none of it comes from direction. I think from I've watched a lot of Steven Spielberg movies. I feel like this is the best he's ever been directing. Like I genuinely, it feels effortless. It feels like watching LeBron James in year 20 just put up like triple double after triple double, and you're just like, like, how are you still doing this? Like that's how effortless it felt. Like just in terms of the transition, the shot compositions, like it's really engaging, really brings you in. Also gives you a different dimension of Indiana Jones with his relationship with his father, meant to parallel the crusade for the Holy Grail of Jesus Christ. Um, and every time I come up with a new thought, I have a new thought that I want to bring up here. But Tommy, I want to get your general impressions, your
Okay.
first time seeing the last.
Overall, I like this movie, but this kind of feels like, in a way, Spielberg's apology for Temple of Doom. I think that he was just
Yeah,
very embarrassed by the movie. And I think that it was him, like, he even said this at the time that he was regressing a little bit while making this movie. Because I think that he pretty much just, like, felt like he needed to play the hits a little bit after making Temple of Doom.
yeah,
We had Spielberg at the time say, I wasn't happy with Temple of Doom at all. I thought it was too dark, too subterranean, too much horrific. I thought I outpultured Poltergeist. There's not an ounce of my own personal feeling in Temple of Doom, which I think is wild. I think that movie's really fun and wild and inventive. Whereas this,
it's so interesting compared like Raiders is like the perfect like introduction to the character, and Temple is like the perfect like this is completely different with
yeah,
the same character. That's I think the biggest flaw of Last Crusade is it's a return to form.
yeah, exactly. It's one of the sequels that like is, don't get me wrong, I like this movie overall, but it did feel like I was like, oh, I'd just rather watch Raiders in a way, because it's so similar to Raiders in that aspect. Whereas Temple of Doom gave me at least something a little bit different.
Yeah, it's similar to Raiders. I think it's different enough. The biggest similarity is fighting the Nazis and going after Jesus artifact, which I guess is similar. I think this movie adds a whole new dimension with the relationship with his father, Henry Jones, played by Sean Connery. Fun fact: Sean Connery is 12 years older than Harrison Ford. Um,
A little
which
insane low casting, but Sean Connery looks old as hell. And I don't even think they used makeup for him in this movie. I think it just worked.
yeah, I think it just worked. I think Sean Connery came up in an era like pre skincare and pre like taking care of your body as an actor. And
Yeah.
Harrison Ford is like at the beginning of that era of actors of being like, I need to make sure I look as young as possible for as long as possible. Because I mean, Harrison Ford's career is interesting because like he didn't get his big break until Star Wars, and he was like 30
Mm.
at the time of Star Wars. My favorite tidbit of Harrison Ford's like introduction was um one of the band members of the Mamas and the Papas like was said they were dragged to go see this with somebody. They're like, you have to go see this. Then she sees Harrison on the screen and goes, my pot dealer's in this movie.
Yeah. Just fucking amazing. It's one of those things that it's always crazy when like you think like the humble beginnings, but I think that overall the chemistry between Ford and Sean Connery was great in this. I think that Connery was on a heater at this point. This is like the same year as the Hunt for Red October, which I think might have came out like within the same time frame. I know it's the same year at least. But he's just coming off like heater after heater, and like this is his post Oscar play from The Untouchables, which a movie we need to see because you have not
Yes,
seen it.
I would love to do The Untouchables. That's a June movie, for sure. Uh, but yeah, they have great chemistry. I think it adds a whole other layer because, and part of the mystique of Indiana Jones, which is very prevalent in the first two, is like we kind of said this before, right? When we covered Bond and when we covered Indiana Jones, it's the male fantasy. It's like you want to almost put yourself into
Yeah,
Indiana Jones's shoes. You want to live those adventures. Like that's the guy you want to be. Um, so like having him kind of like just have personality traits, but not knowing a lot about him is important. And this movie kicks off going way back to 1912 in Utah with Rivers Cuomo. Well, Rivers Phoenix. Sorry.
yeah. Little Rivers Phoenix.
I got my
Yeah,
Rivers confused there for a second.
yeah. We have a great one, and then we have a yeah, whatever one. But anyways, I think that this is one part of the movie I do remember seeing. Because I think we watched this in our friend Dallin's basement. Past and future guest of the show. Um, and it was one of those cases where like we put this on probably like way too late for me for Tommy time, and I
10
passed
o'clock.
out right after yeah, like 10:30. And I remember the River Phoenix scene, and I think I passed out right after that. I was like, and I'm out. But I think the River Phoenix gives an incredible performance right here. I mean, he was someone that died at a very young age, the age of like freaking like 23. And I think that through this movie, you could see the potential of like him to lead his own action franchise. He easily could have, like within 5 years.
Yeah. He was a budding you could tell he was going to be a budding star before, and I mean his brother has definitely lived up to that mantle, like clearly a very talented family in terms of performers. But I love that scene for a whole lot of reasons. Most of which is like I feel like an overarching theme of this movie is obsession
Mm.
and like the perils that come with obsession. I think this also mirrors a another movie we covered, similar kind of movie called National Treasure, um,
Oh yeah.
where uh, Ben and his dad, John Voight, like they talk about the mom disappearing because he got too obsessed, and Indian and his father have that very same conversation in this movie. Um, like a lot of mirroring and a lot of set up is a lot of it is set up during that scene. Like the obsession is a part of the Jones trilogy because basically young Indy sees these diggers stealing a Spanish cross. Indiana steals it. They chase through a circus train, which was that's such a creative like train sequence instead of it just being like generic train, right? Like passenger train where
Yeah,
there's
fucking
just
like the animals.
like and then there's like fist fights on the things like
It does feel wacky. It's also kind of funny when I was thinking about it. I was like, how many Indiana Jones movies have like had like little train fights like that? I felt like, there's at least one in Dial of Destiny from what I remember. That was the opening of Dial of Destiny too. Just playing off the Last Crusade bits, I guess. Looking
yeah,
back.
there wasn't any train bits in the previous two. Um, the only similarities in terms of like the action is the tank sequence and the truck sequence in Raiders and in this one. Like those are where those two, like they kind of have their places where the thing is, like, because you could just put the mine track chase from Temple of Doom in the same spot as the tank scene, right? Like they all have their little things. Like
Yeah,
they're very
gimmicks.
they're structured movies. But it sets up this theme of obsession, and Spielberg is like a master of transitions. When the thief, it's like, hey kid, just because you lost doesn't mean you don't have to like it. And he puts the hat on him, you know what I mean? And then it, like, the hat bows down, and then it cuts to Indiana Jones, and it's like it's Harrison Ford, and he gets punched in the face, and he has the cross again, right? 20 years later, like that is the obsession. And we learn that his father has been chasing the Holy Grail of Jesus of Nazareth for 40 years. And it's a very interesting obsession. And even to cut to the end, when the Holy Grail is sitting there, and the girl dies, and Indy's now hanging off the cliff, and he's trying to go for it. And the only time you
Is
hear his father say, "Call him Indiana," because he calls him Junior the entire movie.
yeah.
Calls him Indiana, tells him to let it go. Right? It's like this haunting obsession that this family has. And it's the kind of compulsion you would need to get yourself into these kind of adventures, these risking, life threatening adventures.
I think the themes of pretty much just like making sure you don't get caught up in the wrong things. I mean, I think Alison Duty was really great. I think that a great step up from Kate Capshaw in Temple of Doom, to say the least. But I think that's kind of like a low bar
Yeah,
to
but
hit
people
from.
didn't like, what was her name, Billy?
Yeah, we're Billy Willie. It was Willie.
Willie. It
Yeah,
was
yeah. Where Willie
one
was
letter
just
off.
like essentially just like a dumb blonde and like screaming and everything like that. Alison Duty, I think, gave like many different facets, and I love like the part in the end of the movie where it's telegraphed like a mile away that like she obviously gave the wrong cup to Walter, but just like the little smirk she gives, it's just like such a wily character, and in a way you're almost kind of sad to see her go, but it just makes sense for the character. It's just like we
Okay,
need
well,
like
wait. I need some clarification here. You were sad to see
almost. I said almost.
you were almost sad to see a member of the Nazi party, at a book burn, who's at a book burning earlier in the film. You were almost sad to see her go.
Emphasis on almost. Yeah. I think the character, regardless, is just very engaging in a way, and just a very like fun, multi-layered performance right there.
Well, this was the one thing I picked up on this watch, and it's something I've noticed with like my first clarity. It's like, because it's very mentioned that we see her and Indiana Jones hook up, and then it's referenced that her and Senior also hooked up
Yeah,
before
yeah,
the young buck got there. Um, like that has to be a fetish for her, right? Like that's really weird.
yeah. She's going
Like
after
that's really weird.
both bloodlines right there.
I mean, speaking of Back to the Future, where the mom wants to hook up with Marty, like, a lot of weird stuff going on in the 80s in that regard.
Oh, and I don't feel that bad anymore. I see a quote from Empire saying that Doty achieved the unlikely feat of making a Nazi sympathizer sympathetic. So
You found from
Empire
um
magazine.
Tommy, you don't know about Empire magazine?
Yeah, no, exactly. Empire magazine's canceled or something.
No, dude, look up Empire magazine 1930s after the podcast, though. Definitely don't look them up right now, but look them up after 1930s. You're not gonna be happy. I like that you had to try to Google. You had to try to Google. You're like, is Allison Duty a sympathetic Nazi in this?
No, I just looked up Alison Duty or the character thing, but on Wikipedia right here. That's what I have going for reference. Um, but regardless, I mean, I think that the fact I was telling Timmy, is kind of shocking that like she's still in movies today. I mean, she was just in that Indian movie RRR that was like blowing up everything like, about 2 years ago, as one of the main characters, one of the main antagonists rather.
Oh, really? I didn't see RRR. 3 hour Bollywood movie. I've heard it's great. I just didn't commit 3 hours to it.
Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
is a commitment.
but yeah, so let me ask you then, because you kind of said that you felt like It was good. I liked it. I didn't love it. Is it just the similarities to Raiders, or
I
is
felt
there
like it.
anything else?
I felt like in a way this movie's pace was just very quick in a way that was like fun and entertaining, but in a way that just kind of made it feel like it went from like set piece to set piece to set piece at a certain point, where it just kept on going and going and going. I didn't think it gave as much moments from Raiders to breathe as much as I think I would have liked, especially towards like toward once we got towards the middle of middle act.
The middle end, yeah, it doesn't breathe at
Yeah,
all. Towards the middle of the end, like
yeah,
once they capture Martin, it's just set piece, set piece, set piece.
yeah.
One of the other characters I love in this is Chasm, the protector of the Crusaders of the Protector, and when they go and they find the Sultan, and they give him all these jewels, and he's just like the Sultan is just not interested, but then he sees a Rolls Royce Phantom, he's like, now this, and he just like lists off all the things, and they're like, yeah, this is yours. We're going to enter your territory. You can take it for a Rolls Royce. That's fine. Um,
Yeah.
Really fun kind of like little sequences. It's all these like little moments in there. Um, let's go to Venice, Italy. What did you think about X marks the spot? Because this movie does have little setups and
I thought it
payoffs.
was like a little like fun like little puzzle thing right there, and I just liked how you just see like how shit was immediately about to go down. Where it's like, okay, all the rat sequences. Apparently, they actually filmed up that tunnel with like 2,000 rats in real life. This is obviously before CGI. Whereas nowadays it'd just be like, no, we're not bringing 2,000 rats to set. Are you kidding me? It's
Yeah,
Steven, you're out of your mind.
gross, gross,
Yeah.
disgusting.
It's like, no, put it in post at this point. That's what we're missing in blockbusters today, of just the tangible element of just wild shit of that. Like, yeah, why not? I mean, the cocaine budget's so much. We have a rap budget too. Of course we do.
Yeah. They have it under better wraps now, the cocaine budget on these big movies. That like back in the 80s, everybody knew about it. Today, they hide it better. Um, it's
Yeah,
listed it's under the catering. It's under craft
yeah.
services. You just have to ask one of the guys serving you food, craft, and they got you. They're like, no, we know. That's why these budgets of these movies are just out of control. Couple
Oh,
million
yeah.
for cocaine.
That's what's coming out of control right now. So,
But yeah, it's a fun puzzle. I think it's really set up well, right? We see after Indy gets the cross, he's back in the classroom. He's like, this, you know, archaeology is the study of fact. If you want truth, go down the hall to the philosophy professor.
this is what was interesting to me
And
about
X does not never marks the spot, and then literally 5 minutes later, X does mark the spot.
yeah, I thought that's a little clever thing, but this is where the movie like immediately felt like the Steven Spielberg apology, where like I don't think Temple of Doom cut to him inside a classroom at all at any point in that
No, it
movie.
didn't. It didn't.
And this movie makes a point to the second the first set piece is over. It's like, all right, we're back in the classroom. We're going to classic Indiana Jones. It felt like a lot of the same what's it called students from the first movie. I wouldn't be shocked if they brought back some of the actresses because they did seem pretty similar. And then from there it's like, all right, here we go. Just so you know, we're in Indiana Jones. Don't forget, this is a classic Indiana Jones you're expecting and feeling.
Yeah, I mean, so this is an interesting thought experiment because I think a lot of franchise movies now get flack for being too samey.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing a Scream shirt, and that's what you felt about Scream 5.
So I feel like you could feel that way about a lot of screams, right? But um, like it's a very big point of criticism for a lot of movies to like a detrimental point. Do you, like what makes this movie get the pass, right? Because it brings back Sala. Like Sala did not need to be brought back in this movie outside of
I
like he's the guy
Yeah.
from Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with what's his name? The British guy. Marcus.
Martin Brody.
Yeah,
Um, but at least in Martin's case, like Martin was just there as like he was barely in Raiders. Like they actually flesh out his character and make him like a goofier side character. Don't you
yeah.
don't you see, Henry? The pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah.
Um,
Some bullshit. Yeah, but I think that this movie in general gets away with it, but I think that in a way that makes me just appreciate Raiders more. Because I think that it adds just a low enough of a wrinkle. I think that's what the best sequels do, is that sometimes if they do play the hits, it's like, all right, we're gonna add something a little bit more into this. We're gonna focus more on this aspect, or we're gonna play up an aspect we haven't seen, which in this case is what is this character's family dynamic, you know?
Yeah, that's literally the only wrinkle of this movie versus Raiders, is giving you more of that insight, which it
Mm.
definitely does effectively. Um, what did you think of Julian Glover, who plays Walter, as the back crossing villain? Did you realize like immediately that he was going to be the bad guy?
It took me a minute. I thought that he was just gonna be like some rich guy that just took him off on an adventure, and I was like, oh, whatever. But then it became kind of apparent. I was like, all right, we know what's happening here. And Allison Duty, I think, was pre-telegraphed
Yeah.
at a certain point too. Um,
I think it's all pretty telegraphed right from the beginning, but I've also seen this movie 100 times, so it's hard for me to not.
yeah, to gauge when if it's supposed to be noticeable or
Yeah,
not.
I feel like he tells that one line to Indy where he's like, "And remember, Indy, don't trust anyone." And
Yeah.
it's like that's such like a telegraphed villain line, like, "Don't trust anyone."
Oh, and of course. Um,
The
but
the quest giver giving that one out.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we've been talking, this movie goes from like set piece to set piece to set piece at a certain point. Was there one that stood out to you that like when you've rewatched this movie 100 times, you're like, okay, like this is on, I gotta go see this.
I
It's on
will
TNT.
I mean, on TNT, the tank sequence is on. I'm sitting there and I'm watching it all the way
Hmm.
through. I think it's the best action piece in the entire franchise. It's just so good. Having Sean Connery and Martin Brody in the tank, it just adds to the stakes of it. And
Hmm.
Indy gets really beat up. It's even reading that, Harrison Ford did so many stunts in this that his stuntman had to be like, "Hey, I need to make some money. Can I do a
Yeah.
couple of these stunts, please?" It's just really physical, really visceral, and the fake out Indy death is also great. It's actually a great character moment for Henry too, where he's just like, I could have just had 5 minutes with him to just tell him. Like, it doesn't even go on from there, but just like that bubbling feeling coming up over the fact that he felt he lost his son as the tank crashes down into the crater, and then Indy just pulling himself up, like, huh, what? We're just looking at the tank wreckage. Okay, got it. Like, didn't realize that his son survived, which, to be fair,
Yeah.
kind of hard for all of us to maybe believe that one. But and then Indy
This
just
character survived in a fridge and a nuke. He can survive everything.
listen, he's action man. He can do whatever he needs to. He can
Yeah.
he has plot invincibility. We all know that. Um, what did you think of the set piece at the end? The quest to get the Grail itself. The
I think
movie's
that
been
that
building
was
up to it.
yeah, I think that was a very satisfying end to an adventure right there of I think the most fun was just like seeing Walter pick up the wrong glass. You know what's happening. It's telegraphed immediately, like, yeah, this guy picked up the wrong one. And I think the special effects of like it had to be a little bit stop motion right there of him like aging and becoming a skeleton was just so gnarly and such a fun way, fun pulpy way that these movies would like to evoke. And I just like you talk about the character that played like the knight that like was there to take care of everything and like always was around the Grail, the protector. I thought it was just also a very fun little wrinkle and pulpy wrinkle to this.
It's a pulpy wrinkle, and it's also a callback to the between Walter and Indy. They have the conversation about the tale of the three brothers from the First Crusade, at the beginning of the movie. It's a nice little callback there, and that's filmed at the Alcaniz in Petra, Jordan, which is like one of the great wonders of the world. The exterior of it is, at least, I would assume that they would not actually allow you to film inside of there and cause an earthquake in the middle of it. Uh, but really fun set piece. I like the riddle of it of solving the journal, and it's a nice way of seeing the obsession, everything kind of come together. This like culmination of of Henry's life work having to be completed by his son for his life, because Walter shoots shoots Henry. He shoots him and says, yeah, Indy, you're gonna work for me after he was like, I'm not working for the Nazis. Um, and I think it's a really satisfying conclusion. And especially the final scene, we learn where Indy gets his name. It's from the dog, and then they ride off into the sunset. And like
Blaring the music.
They haven't made an Indiana Jones movie since that point too. So it's a really fitting ending to the franchise.
No, it definitely felt like that was just it. Like there's it's literally called the Last Crusade. It was just like, okay, we done three, that's it. We don't need more. And then of course they decided to eke out Crystal Skull and eke out Dial of Destiny, which had both had its moments. They're not 0 out of 10s. You give me that look. They're not, neither of those movies are 0 out of 10s. But this franchise should have just stayed with Last Crusade.
It's a franchise that should have stayed dormant or should have recasted. It's like Indiana Jones could have been a Bond kind of franchise. I feel like you can always live in that time frame.
Yeah,
and
bring
do
on
different.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, whoever. It doesn't matter. Bring on whoever. Yeah, I know they wanted Chris Pratt. I'm like,
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Don't do that.
Well, also one aspect of this movie was just the sound design. I thought it was incredible. The John Williams score, I thought I didn't think it was anything like crazy original, but again, it was him playing the hits, and the hits do work. Especially with the score. And when they play the classic Indiana Jones theme at the end of the movie when he's right off in the sunset, just like what a way to cap this off.
Yeah, I also love the little like the music, like the German hinted at music when they're doing the book burning, the like
Yeah.
hey, and Indiana Jones meets Adolf Hitler. Like, I mean, what a movie.
Yeah,
Then we find
that's
out
it.
40 years later that he also served in World War II. Like with a weird face in that, by the way. It was strange almost.
Yeah, exactly. A little bizarre.
It looked like computers had affected his face or something like that.
Tim, so you might be disappointed in me. I had a chance 2 months ago or 3 months ago to see
kill
this
Hitler?
movie. No, I didn't have that chance, unfortunately. But no, I had a chance to go see this movie for the first time on 35 millimeter print that the Yale University was showing, and I didn't go because Best Video was doing a screen of Days of Confused that night, and I wanted to see that instead.
No, I'm proud of you, Tommy, because you knew it was in our best interest, the podcast best interest, for you to
Yeah, that's
not
why.
go and see it. Although, to be fair, whatever we were covering at that time, you would have just texted and been like, I just saw Last Crusade in 35 millimeter print in a movie theater. We're gonna
Yeah.
go. We're just gonna cover it this week now.
Yeah.
That's 100% the conversation that would have went down.
I have slight regrets because I think that movie would have played well, but also the last time I saw a Yale screen there was Terminator 2, and it wasn't exactly the crowd I would have loved to have for Terminator 2.
Yeah,
More
I believe. I
academic.
believe it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, this is 1938. This is the brink of World War II. I just don't understand how Indiana Jones could just walk into Berlin like that. It just doesn't even make any sense to me when I think about the social economic. And then you're like, oh, please. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I was like when like I was watching Terminator 2 at the Yale Theater, I saw some like students taking notes, and I was like, where am I right now?
Nerds! Nerds!
I'm like I think I had a couple drinks in me. I think I took some edibles beforehand too, so I was like in the wrong environment. I was like, oh, this feels odd.
You're allowed to drink at Yale.
I had a drink actually before.
But yeah, I would imagine this movie in a theater setting would slap. I remember seeing Raiders last year in theaters, and I would instantly go see any of the original trilogy back in theaters. I've seen 3 out of the 5 in theaters. The only 2 I'm missing are Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade.
I am a star. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. I am a big, bright, shining star.
All right, Tommy. Who's the star of the movie? Who really stole the show in this one?
I mean, obviously Harrison Ford, the central character again, great. But Sean Connery, I mean, we do have to shout out. I felt he played well into his like Gruffalo role, right here of like the father. There's apparently like rumors that Gregory Peck was also considered. I don't know if he would have done as well. I don't think Peck was had the juice as much in this period
He
as
doesn't have the
Sean
name.
Connery did.
He didn't have the name at that point. Like you have Harrison Ford and Sean, you have Indiana Jones and James Bond like teaming up in a movie. Like very interesting dynamic there. Also, one of my favorite set pieces is when they're on the Hindenburg, the blimp. They land and the planes are chasing them, and Henry has the most creative kill I've ever seen in any movie almost, where he just takes his umbrella and gets the birds going, and the birds fly into the uh plane's cockpit window and goes down. I'm like, that is a very creative kill.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
not lucking out of the situation.
Not none whatsoever. I mean, I think that also just all the side characters in this movie were great. Like we talked before about what's her name?
Elsa.
Allison Duty. I think that she was just a good little foil, and I think I like the constant like back and forth of her like being on the team, being against the team, like essentially just looking out for her best interest. You need that kind of like slime ball adventure movie like this, and it was just great seeing her at the end. Take it.
Take, take the L.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's very clearly Harrison Ford. Like
of course.
his charisma builds up the Indiana Jones character. It's why they never even attempted to recast it because nobody has that kind of adventurous charm. That like
Yeah,
it's that merc
Except for Reaver Phoenix.
except for Rivers Phoenix at 12 years old. Um, Nobody else has that mercenary smile that he does, where it's nefarious and it's troublemaking. But it's a Spielberg movie. You know that the performances are going to be good, the blocking's going to be good, everything's going to be good. But yeah, I would have to say it is without question Harrison Ford.
Ah, are you ready, comedy partner? Waka waka.
All right, Tommy. Now this one getting a little closer. There's a history of Lucasfilm and Henson Productions working together. Yoda is a Muppet, after all. Could you see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade working as a Muppet adaptation?
I think 100% right here. I'm looking right now. I mean, every time we do this segment now, I pull up my other monitor, Muppets, whatever movie we covered, and there's so much just like official Muppet stuff of like Kermit dressed up in the Indiana Jones getup. They did like segments in like Muppet Babies. They did this and like random like Muppets Tonight or whatever of just Kermit in that little getup or parodying the rock roll and Raiders Last Ark. I mean, what you do is obviously Kermit is
Indiana
Indy,
Jones.
Indiana Jones, and then Sean Connery is Waldorf.
Sean Connery's Waldorf. That's good. And
Yeah,
the only human we keep is the Nazi bad guy. He was like, and this is how we say farewell in Germany, and like smacks him with the cane. Like that's the only human we keep in the movie. Yeah, I could see this actually happening in a weird way, or like an Indiana Jones Muppets thing. Like it clearly has happened. There's been crosses. It's not surprising. Lucasfilm and Disney.
There's been toys apparently of Kermit dressed up as Indy too. I mean, like this is something that the franchise has gone apart. And it'd be great. I mean, I don't know. Walt, I'm trying to think of like who else would be the cast. Miss Piggy obviously would be Dottie or whatever.
Fozzie would be Martin Brody.
Duty. Yeah. Fozzie would be Martin Brody, and Miss Piggy would be
I feel like
Alison Duty.
I feel like Gonzo would be an excellent Sala.
So is Walter and what's that one's name? Sardoff?
Walter. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head. Walter Donovan. Julian
No, I was talking
Glover.
about the Muppets.
Oh, who would play Julian?
The other old Muppet.
Sam the Eagle being a Nazi would be quite a twist.
Yeah.
The audience wouldn't see it coming. He has that stern demeanor. It would work. It would be a pretty good cast.
Yeah, take the idea, Disney.
And then Baby Kermit could be young Indy. It's perfect. It all lines up together.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy, review time. Give me your score to 5.
I think this movie was very much Spielberg playing the hits in a way that was satisfying, but not ultimately creative in the way I felt Temple of Doom was. And while I did like this movie, it did make me feel echoes of Raiders more, which was the point. Spielberg wanted us to feel that way, but at the same point, I was like, I kind of want to try to watch Raiders. Overall, though, Sean Connery gave a great performance at the little wrinkle. I thought that the character of Alison Doody played was a real
Elsa.
fun, like a little Elsa was real fun, like foiled to Indian or anything like that. I'm gonna go 3.5 out of 5. I like this movie. I
Oh,
didn't love it,
ow!
but yeah,
Right in the
overall,
heart.
fun movie though.
When did you become a harsh critic? I'm
Yeah, our
gonna
roles flipped this week.
Yeah, I know, because I'm about to give this a 4.5 out of 5. Oh, it's just so much fun. It's comfort food, the movie. I don't know how else to explain it. I think it is Spielberg playing the hits, but comes through because the directing is just like over the top. It feels effortless. Um, the one thing that stops us from being a 5 out of 5 is the lack of originality, in my opinion. Kind of playing the hits as you will, but I think it ultimately leads to a very satisfying conclusion to a trilogy of movies that has not gotten a sequel since 1989. But now that Disney owns Lucasfilm, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make something up. Um, but yeah, that's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Tommy, any final thoughts before we wrap up this episode?
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow us on social media at Seen It Pod. That's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We also have a YouTube channel, Haven't Seen It Pod on YouTube. And leave us a 5-star review. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. It helps us out, helps us grow the show. And yeah, we have a great show coming up next. We are going to be covering Planet of the Apes, the original.
The
Neither of
original.
us have you seen it?
I've seen it when I was a kid.
I have not seen it.
I remember nothing about it, so it's like a blind viewing of it, honestly.
Spoiler alert, the Planet of the Apes is Earth the whole time.
Why the fuck would you say that, man?
Now we're gonna get some angry tweets being like, "How dare you finally spoil the Planet of the Apes?" It was on my watch list for years and years.
Spoiler alert from a movie that's almost 60 years old. But yeah, thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you next time with Planet of the Apes.